standing here right at the heart of Seoul, at this shell here. And what I think we're gonna do today is we're gonna walk through this vein through Seoul. This is a nice riverside that goes through all of the inner city here. I actually don't know how long it is, but it's extremely long. I've been walking on it a few times, and I think the longest I walked is like 1.5 hours in one direction. And I didn't reach the end, so it's really, really long. There's all kinds of stuff going on there regularly. But let's start here at the shell, and then there's a ramp down, and the vein or the river starts here. Let's do it. The whole river starts here with this waterfall kind of thing. And I just thought about it. I don't know why I haven't thought about it before. I have no clue where the water comes from. At all, actually. Which is kind of funny. I haven't thought about that before. I've been walking past here so many times the last 2 months. You see the shell there in the background. So in this area here, it's mostly kids looking at the water and stuff like that. And there's a lot of birds here. I just seen a bird. Like these birds that hunt and look for fish in here. And it's super fascinating to see them here. So in this area here, where there's a lot of these flowers on the walls, and they're actually real, it smells amazing right here on sunny days, and at least when it's not like a rainy day as it's been for the last few days. It's also gonna rain in a few hours here. There will be a library here, an outdoor one with seatings and books and everything. It's amazing and super cozy. I don't know the opening hours of it, if it even have any, but even at night it would be here. Super, super amazing. Really, really. If you're here, looks like my lens is fucking up. If you're here, definitely go and check the library out right at the start of this walk. Super nice, super, super nice. Unfortunately, it's not today, and I haven't been here the last few times I walked past it, probably because of all the rain that's been. It's still really nice, and as you see, there's a lot of people hanging out here and kids playing, and just like people having a nice Sunday as it is today. When you're walking down here, mostly when you want to walk to the other side, there will be rocks in the river. You can like not jump but walk to the other side. But also a few places there will be like a little bridge also. It's really nice. There are some of these spots, not that many though, if you have a little bit of trouble like walking over where the rocks are. So this one right here is one of the more traditional paths. I would say this one is the more easier one. There are some of them, there's like a little bit more natural stones than this one. But as you can see, it's relatively easy to get to the other side. And then you can hear there are these small little, I don't know what they're called actually, not even in Danish, but these small waterfall kind of things. So there will always be this kind of little humming of the water, and then you have the humming of the city in the background, which is super relaxing if you're gonna sit here. So even in these areas where there's no like concrete wall or anything to sit on, there are these big rocks here. And I have been sitting here drinking coffee. I see a lot of people being here drinking coffee. My neighbor at the place I'm staying, she went here almost every evening drinking tea and sitting down here. Super amazing, both at the daytime and at night time. There will also be like places under the tree if you're here at the daytime and you want to be in the shade. So there are a lot of bridges also crossing with traffic because we are in the middle of the city, right? Under the bridges, especially when it's warm, it's actually relatively cold under there. So there will be a lot of people during the day, sitting in there, having a coffee, a lunch, or just relaxing in the shade. I would prefer any time to sit out here on one of the rocks in the sun or under a tree. Mostly in the sun because I like to be in the sun. And as you see here, you can find places where you feel like you are all remote. Of course, people are walking right here, but if you go further out, there will not be that many people, and there will also be more vegetation around, so you can sometimes find a little pocket you can sit in, being all alone in the middle of the city, which I really enjoy. Just thinking about whatever is on your mind that day. And then try and listen to the water. Isn't that amazing? Nothing but the water sound, and then a little bit of a hum from the city. Every now and then people walking past, talking, and people mostly are very calm here. Of course there will be people being a little bit loud here walking past, but mostly people are very calm. It's so relaxing listening to this water. I'm so happy about it. Maybe I should just do a video here of the water right here for 1 hour. People can use to fall asleep. That's actually not a bad idea. Amazing sound. Oh, let's continue. And then as a rare thing in Seoul, there will actually be a lot of trash cans on this walk, which is very convenient when walking around. So every like 100 to 300 meters, there will be a walk up on both sides, and there is actually a tiny little map, plus there will be signs if there's a toilet up and what kind of metro station is around, which is amazing that it's like this. So the map looks like this. It is very convenient. You can see like where you are and where the next path up is, and then toilets and station as I just mentioned. I'm such a fan of this urbanization of the inner part of a city. There's also this walk path. They've been in my video a few times, which is this old like bridge, which used to be a road, I think, with they made into like a walk path with trees and everything. It's so amazing. I know they've done it in New York also with some of the old subway lines. It's so nice. On the walk path here, there is a lot of artwork in different kind of styles. There is a fountain here which luckily right now is almost turned off, and I think it's kind of a weird design. It takes up half of the road, plus the splashing from the waterfall goes all the way in on where you can walk. So in theory, if you don't want to get wet, there's like a tiny space to walk on. So it's kind of a choke point when there's a lot of people here. Right now it's not really in full function though. If I was the city planner, I would definitely change that or build out the walking area so you don't have to like narrow everything down like that when you go in like this. Especially if it's a little bit windy, then it will splash everywhere. And it's a little bit smelly also, so it's not the cleanest water right there at least. On the other side, however, is this drawing of these old soldiers. I don't know if they're old, but it's from back in the days. That was what I wanted to say. All the way around here, like for at least a few hundred meters this way, there are this, and as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of that stuff going on along the walk here, which is amazing that there are all kinds of different stuff. Also seen a wall where it looks like it's children. They're drawn each tile individually, and then it's like one big collage of like small kids drawing, which is amazing. This one also very nice. And if you noticed, like right now is way more like nature feeling to everything. than in the start, where it was more like concrete and sitting areas. Most of the river and the walk path here is like that with nature, and at some point like you feel almost you're walking in a forest, which is really, really, really nice. If you want to get a little bit of green feeling in here in the middle of the city. So if you're running, it is definitely possible to run down here. I've done it a few times. For me, however, it actually works better to run up in the real world, because here there are narrow paths, so sometimes you stop all the time to like get through people, which you also do a little bit up in the real world, but there's way more space, and I don't like to run like right up against people, mostly because I don't want to make them uncomfortable. For me it's fine, but I don't want to make them uncomfortable, and sweaty running guy right up your face is just not fun. I figured out a few places to run up in the city where there's not a lot of traffic lights, and it works fine. Like I find like a route there's at least 10 minutes, and I'll just run that twice or 3 times, and then I don't stop at all for that half an hour, 20 minutes. Down here you have to kind of slow down a lot. You can of course be lucky that there's nobody around when you're running. Just like there. And he was running right up against me. So in theory it sounds amazing to run down here. More practical, I think it's better to run up in the city, 100%. If you find like a path that's great with not a lot of traffic or traffic lights, way better upstairs. It's super nice to walk down here though. So as you see here behind me, there is a lot of these emergency escape ladders. I don't know how it is when there is like a lot of rain coming down, but there are these flood kind of warnings everywhere. Plus like some of the path, it says it's closed when it's raining a lot. So maybe it just seems like a lot of water, right? If this is gonna fill up. However, there are these escape things in case a lot of water will come all of a sudden. But it could be fun to see actually, like how much water will actually be here when it's a lot. But it must be something, since some of the paths, or not all of it, is closed. Plus there are these warnings everywhere all the time. I've been here though, it's just been this normal level as it is right now. So another thing that's very nice about this Riverside, for somebody like me that like to go on adventure and I don't know where I'm going, is buying a coffee right here and just keep on walking, and then at some point walk up and see what there are around, which is amazing to do that. And on one of these trips where I did that, one morning I just felt like going for a short little walk all on my own with my coffee, and I got up to this flea market that had the most incredible old stuff, and if I had space or an apartment somewhere, I would have bought so much stuff right there. That was so nice to find that space just by accident, by walking around the river here, and then at some point I felt like just going up, and there was. Something that was surprising me a lot in the start was there's a lot of fish swimming around in this one, and they're huge, some of them. And the other day, and that was the most amazing thing I seen down here, I saw 2 turtles swimming around, like bigger than my hand, probably the size of my head, swimming around. And I had so much time to watch them because they were just swimming around in the same area. That was so amazing, especially for me, because coming from the north, like turtles is not a thing, right? That's like in the zoo, or as somebody at home have them as a pet, but out in the nature it doesn't exist where I'm from. So turtles are very exotic in that sense for me, and just watching them swimming around was like so incredible for me. see if we can find a fish or two to show. So the further out you get, the bigger and deeper the river will be, and there will be more animals, of course, in that area. I guess it's super hard to see, but there are actually a few big fish right there. There is one huge one, smaller one right beside it, and then a couple over there also. And if you like just a little bit of architecture, there are so many different bridges along this walk also to look at. Some of them very beautiful, some of them just a bridge. This one is like a little bit special because it's like a cable bridge, but the towers are kind of like leaning outwards. This is a funny way to do it, at least if you ask me. This little path here, as you see, with greenery like all the way around you, is amazing. There are a few of the spots here like this, very narrow, so when there's a lot of traffic, it's actually not that fun to walk here. But if you're here when there's not that many people, this is some of the amazing parts of this walk. And this is gonna be the end of the video here in this very greenery area. And this is also gonna be most likely the last full video here from South Korea. The next one will start here and then end up in a different country. Let's see how it's gonna go. And there's gonna be a very special guest in the next one, if everything goes to plan, of course. And as you know, as a world traveler, it's rarely everything goes to plan. So see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. And if you're here in Seoul, spend a lot of time walking around, sitting here in this beautiful, beautiful area of the city. And as I said in the start, this path is so long. So you can go on an extremely long walk here, and it's amazing. Thank you for watching.